Throughout history, humans have created laws to keep order, guide behavior, and maintain peace. But not every law made sense. Some were so strange, so bizarre, that it makes you wonder what the lawmakers were thinking. These weird rules reveal the humor, fear, and sometimes sheer absurdity of how different societies thought. So let's dive into the world's most bizarre laws in history. Laws that are as fascinating as they are unbelievable. In medieval England, there was once a law that made it illegal to die inside the Houses of Parliament. Yes, you heard that right. Dying was actually against the law. The reasoning behind it was that anyone who died there was technically entitled to a state funeral, which would be a costly and ceremonial affair. So instead of dealing with that expense, the law simply forbade dying there. Of course, enforcing that rule would have been impossible. Imagine a guard shouting, "Stop! You're not allowed to die here!" It's both absurd and hilarious. Yet, it shows how seriously lawmakers treated even the most unusual situations. Then, in ancient Greece, there was a law in Athens that required all citizens to appear attractive in public. The idea was that beauty reflected virtue and moral character. People believed that how you looked showed who you were on the inside. If you appeared disheveled, lazy, or unkempt, it could actually be seen as a form of disrespect to the city-state. Today, that kind of rule sounds ridiculous, but in Athens, civic pride and image were everything. The state wanted its citizens to reflect the glory and order of their society, even through their hairstyles and clothes. In 14th century France, there was a time when animals could be put on trial for crimes.
Before we continue, please like and subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any historical facts and mysteries we upload here.
Yes, real trials, with judges, lawyers, and even witnesses. Pigs, for instance, were often accused of harming people, and they could be sentenced to death by hanging or even burned at the stake. There's an actual record of a pig being executed in 1386 in Falaise, France, dressed in human clothes and paraded through town before its punishment. People back then believed that punishing animals publicly would teach others a moral lesson. It's a bizarre reflection of how justice was mixed with superstition and showmanship. In Switzerland, believe it or not, there's a law that forbids owning just one guinea pig. This law still exists today. The reasoning is not strange in a cruel way, it's strange in a sweet way. Guinea pigs are social animals and are considered victims of abuse if kept alone because they get lonely. So by law, if you want a guinea pig, you must get at least two. It's probably one of the most heartwarming strange laws out there. Loneliness is literally illegal for these furry little creatures. Meanwhile, in medieval times, Denmark had a law that allowed people to legally hit someone if that person insulted your mother. It was seen as defending family honor, and the attacker could only be punished if they used a weapon or caused serious injury. So technically, slapping someone for talking bad about your mom was perfectly lawful. That shows how deeply rooted family honor was in some societies, even to the point of being protected by law. In Japan during the Edo period, there were strict sumptuary laws that dictated exactly what clothes you could wear, based on your social class. Commoners could not wear luxurious fabrics like silk or bright colors, which were reserved for the samurai and nobility. The goal was to keep people in their place and prevent them from pretending to be of higher status. However, people found clever ways to break these rules by wearing fancy kimonos with luxurious patterns hidden on the inside. Rebellion through fashion. It's a great example of how even strict laws couldn't completely stop human creativity and pride. In 16th century England, there was a strange law that banned eating meat on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, not for religious reasons, but for economic ones. The government wanted to encourage the fishing industry by forcing people to eat fish several times a week. Breaking this rule wasn't a small matter either. It could lead to public punishment or fines. It shows how governments have long tried to control what people eat. all in the name of boosting the economy. In the 1800s, there was a law in the United States, specifically in Alabama, that made it illegal to wear a fake mustache in church if it caused laughter. Apparently, some people were showing up to church with ridiculous mustaches to make others laugh during service. The lawmakers must have thought the best way to maintain holiness was to outlaw comedy. It's one of those laws that probably started as a joke, but ended up written into real legal code. Another strange law comes from ancient Egypt, where men were required to shave their entire bodies, including eyebrows and eyelashes, before serving as priests. The Egyptians saw body hair as impure and believed that cleanliness brought them closer to the gods. While it sounds extreme, it reflects the culture's deep obsession with purity and order, which extended even to their religious service. And perhaps one of the oddest of all comes from 13th century Italy, where a city called Lucca banned women from wearing buttons on the front of their dresses. The church at the time believed that buttons were too tempting, as they made it easier for men to imagine what was underneath. So, in their minds, banning buttons would keep society moral and pure. It sounds laughable now, but it shows how far religious and cultural norms once dictated even the tiniest details of daily life. These bizarre laws, while often hilarious to us today, reveal something deeper about human history. They show how every society, no matter how advanced or primitive, tries to control behavior, protect traditions, or uphold values, even through absurd rules. What seems ridiculous to one era often made perfect sense to another. And who knows, maybe centuries from now, people will look back at some of our own modern laws and wonder, what on earth were they thinking?